You are listening to the Indie88, your first listen album premiere special of Arkells' Blink Twice, which is out September 23rd. We would love for you to help guide us throughout the record.
Well, actually, the record starts with the previous record, if we're being honest, because Blink Once and Blink Twice are companion albums. And if you listen to the final track on Blink Once, it's like an outerlude, and the lyric is Last Night, and the song title is Last Night I Heard Him Sing. And that's actually stems that Tony pulled from Reckoning, which is the first song off Blink Twice. Because generally the rule of thumb is, what would Taylor Swift do? That's sort of like what we try to live by. And she's very good at leaving Easter eggs. So when we put out Blink Once a year ago, people were like, what's with this weird little outro song? It doesn't really sound like the rest of the record. And to us, it was like, you know when the credits roll in a movie and then they have that final scene after the credits?
Yeah.
It's sort of winking at what the sequel is going to look like. That's what we were trying to do. So that leads right into Reckoning, which is track 1.
Now, did you guys start off with the idea of a double album and then kind of break it apart, or?
The pandemic was a very confusing, cloudy time. And we had to do our best to make the right decisions. But what we noticed was, a lot of our friends were putting out albums during the middle of the pandemic, and then they kind of evaporated into thin air because they couldn't tour, you know, and touring is such an important part of promoting the new music. So we're like, okay, we want to put out some music, and we want to be able to play shows, but when the world comes back, we want to have more new music. And we had a lot of time to work on stuff. So, yeah, some of the music was written from Blink Twice during the pandemic, and some of it was newer stuff. What do we remember, Tony?
I remember taking some stems from demos that we had done, like at Noble Street Studios in Toronto here, and we just started messing with stuff. I think a lot of it probably came out of boredom. We were just planted. We were never planted as long as we were, I don't think.
Yeah.
Now, interesting enough, there's a ton of guests on the album, and because of the pandemic and because everyone was able to connect from afar and also musicians were pretty much grounded, was that where that idea came from, or did you always have this list of collaborators waiting in the wings?
Yeah, I've always been really jealous of other genres that get to play in the sandbox with a lot of different artists in collabs. And so if you look at like hip hop or electronic music or pop music, it's like people are always doing stuff with other artists. I was like, I kind of want to do that. So yeah, we just started kind of reaching out to people that are friends. And yeah, track 2 is Past Life. And thank you, Indie, for spinning the hell out of it. We appreciate it. Actually, when we were walking in the building, they were playing it. It was awesome. And we reached out to Nathan, who we got to know. They opened for us at the Rally in 2018. And Cold War Kids are one of our favorite bands for a very long time. And we kind of wrote it with him in mind. And so when he was like, yo, this is like right up my alley. Like it totally speaks to me. We're like, nailed it. Sick.
Can we talk about, Tony, can you talk about the Wallflowers reference in this one?
I can't speak on behalf of the lyrics.
I don't let him talk about the lyrics, actually. Yeah, that's sort of
I make like little puns with Max's lyrics sometimes, and that's the best I can do in terms of...
Okay, Max.
No, I mean... I'm just joking, but Tony can say whatever the hell he wants. But yeah, no, I mean, I love the Wallflowers. I like that lyric, like, I'm a little wallflower singing one headlight, because that's such a great, like, sing-along in your car kind of song. And, yeah, I just wanted an excuse to name drop the Wallflowers. But then it was cool, because Nathan heard that lyric and was like, oh, I want to talk about what it would be like to live in the shadows of your father or your family, and just trying to like free yourself from your past. And that's what the song is really about. And so he took that idea of like, what's it like to be Bob Dylan's son, and you know, and shake free from that. And yeah, so it was very cool to see him react to the lyrics in the first verse and write his own verse from there.
We're on to track 3, Take Back Everything. And I'm like, okay, I remember listening to the album first way through, and I was like, here it is. It's the romantic gem. And then, of course, it's a heartbreaker. And I think I'm used to you guys bringing the romance, and there's actually a lot of heartbreak on this record.
Yeah, I think everyone was dealing with some kind of loss and changes in their life during the pandemic. I feel like, and you had a lot of time to contemplate it too, because I think that was probably one of the hardest things is like, and you know, Tony, you can speak to this too, where it's just like, normally in life, the thing that kind of can get you through is like looking forward to good stuff, because everybody has hardship every day, no matter what. But when you don't have the good stuff also in your life, then it's like very difficult. So I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I had more time to contemplate, you know, changes in relationships.
Yeah, I definitely teeter on like being super stoked and ultra depressed sometimes, and throughout this record, and I think also a little bit of Blink once, Max kept sending these demos and being like, "I'm so sorry, these lyrics are so depressing," and I'm like, "I'm loving all of them." Like, depending on the mood I was in, obviously, but most of the time at that time, particularly a little low mood, right? So they were really speaking.
Yeah, we did this one with Derek Hoffman around the corner from here. Actually, he's an amazing local producer and a good friend. And I don't know if we would have worked with them if it was normal times, but because it was the pandemic, we couldn't really travel. We're like, oh, we like Derek. We've done some awesome like Christmas songs with him, and he's a really talented guy. And then getting to know him and digging into this material, it was really gratifying because he's such a talent. Yeah. What else about this song?
Am I misinterpreting this? Is this the one Valley's on?
Oh yeah. So if you're listening, there's a female voice on Take Back Everything, and that is Kara from Valley. And she lives around the corner from Derek's studio. So we're like, can you come sing on this? And they came in, and they're awesome. So and we're big fans of that band. So it was very cool to get to hang with them.
Absolutely. They were one of those bands that had a great pandemic.
Yeah. They learned how to use TikTok earlier than most.
Yeah.
Which was very good of them.
We are now in, we're not quite the middle. We're at track 4 with Human Being featuring Lights. And I wanted to know, how important is it to have other artists that you come up with that you can trust?
Yeah, I mean, we're such fans of her. She's a true artist, right? Like, she's a great songwriter. She produces her own music. She's a visual artist as well. She can kind of do everything. And yeah, we had the song that kind of sounded like a Light song. So we're like, oh, what if she'd be into it? And then she sent back a few different ideas. And I think the best part of that song is the bridge. And she wrote that part of the song specifically. And there's a lot of synths on it. Tony got to have a lot of fun in LA.
Yep. Playing. A little too much fun.
There's a Talking Heads vibe. Is that something that you were bringing to the table?
More, actually. I really love this song because it reminds me of a Billy Joel song. Which was the tune again? It's We Didn't Start the Fire, I think. Yeah. Where like the melody kind of sticks on this like singular note. And I remember when I first heard the demo of it, I was like, this is such a like right up my alley. Like, I love Billy Joel. But yeah, definitely a lot of synth. On it, Talking Heads.
That 80s vibe, sort of chaotic, Talking Heads, Billy Joel, I'm like sort of rap singing in a way, like We Didn't Start the Fire, that kind of thing. And it's cool. And it's only, I think it clocks in at like 2 minutes and 25 seconds. It's like a short song.
Now, with all these guests on the record, I'm kind of wondering, when you're on tour, are you planning your openers strategically so you'd have
We're trying.
buds to come on stage?
At the time of this recording, Lights is on tour with us right now in the UK and Germany. So we're going to get to do the song every day. And that's another thing. It's like we've always had a great time bringing up the opener or collaborating with the band that we're on tour with and like doing a song with them. And usually it's a cover song. So it's really going to be exciting to like cross paths with all these artists on the road and get them up and actually do the song. Because like the live moments are the best, right? And I think that provides a cool experience for everyone in the crowd too.
And now we're at Teenage Tears featuring Tegan and Sara. Another heartbreaker. Why are they teenage tears?
Why are they teenage tears? Oh, I think it's like...
no, just because as you get older, you learn to stuff it down a little bit.
Not me.
No, but I like, crying as a teenager is like the most sort of like intense, visceral kind of cry. But then as an adult, you can experience that too. So it's like, it's like a sharp, acute sort of pain that is different than the dull pain of adulthood. I think there's a difference. And I like, it's funny. We had a demo for this song, and Tegan and Sara reached out about something else. Some other idea they had. And I just used it as an in with them, like, hey, do you guys want to sing on this song? And I totally forgot that I had just seen them tour their memoir about their high school years. And I also knew that they had a TV show coming out about that book. So they were living in high school world already. And so when I sent them the email, they're like, yeah, actually, this is really like the song and we'd love to be involved. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of such a nice connective piece for what they're doing already. And then it turned out that their album is called Cry Baby. So Teenage Tears, high school, Cry Baby, it all kind of made sense.
It all worked out well. Tony, I'm happy that you're here because I wanted to talk to you about Miracle because there's this kind of Beatles-esque piano, and I wanted to know, what were you thinking, what were you inspired by in the studio while putting together Miracle?
Yeah, it was actually formed with a demo that I had sent to Max, and it was kind of, Beatlesy, Spoons kind of vibe. We hadn't had anything there were a lot of somber tunes, but nothing kind of like minor and angsty. And so, just kind of put together this piano part, some like fake drums, and then send it to Max. And like,
what was the demo called? Do you remember what the demo was called? What you would have called it?
Do you have it on your phone right now?
No,
Is that what you're looking for?
Honestly, look at all these
send him
voice notes from Tony.
Just pages and pages.
It is.
And pages.
It's like I'll send like 20 songs, and there'll be like
We're
one, and
zooming in.
Max will be like, that's great. I'll use that one. I'm like, okay, cool. But that's how to do it, right? But that one in particular, I was like stoked that he was into because there was like a bunch of references in there. Like one was like this spoon thing. I remember the name of the song, and then the other was this Ben Folds 5 song, One Angry Dwarf, and 2000 Solemn Faces or something. Totally kind of just took the chords from the chorus and that, and then he put some new stuff over top of it.
I found something.
All right, check out this fucking jam.
Oh, that's your thing.
Yeah, that's what it
That's what it originally sounded like.
Yeah.
So I'm singing over this demo into my phone. Okay, let's wait for it.
It's really funny.
So,
This is cool. Anyway,
It was really funny listening back to it too. Not that this is relevant or whatever, but like you sang over what I thought was the verse. Sorry, the chorus, where it starts. I was like, it starts with the chorus, but then you sang something else, and then you went to that next part, which is it was just very like turned it on its head for me. But I was like, that's cool. Like,
and this kind of goes to speak. So Tony, like a lot of modern musicians, has a rig at home and Pro Tools and can build songs and do a bunch of stuff. The extent of my recording capabilities is so playing his demo out of my laptop speaker and then singing it into my voice note into my phone. I'm like, we got a song, buddy. And that's how we do it.
So now we're going to get to Nowhere to Go. Fitting, as we talked pandemic-y. This one features Wesley Schultz. And also, again, Springsteen vibes with your pal from Jersey. And I was wondering, you played the Grey Cup halftime show with the Lumineers in 2021. So I was like, that couldn't be where this collab started, or could it?
It is. Well, actually, so the song started with the Tony demo, actually.
Yeah.
Tony, you sent...
it was called Frank Turner F Around. I won't make you beat that one out. Because, it was another one. It was like this punky kind of like piano demo. And then sent it over to Max, and like right away, like you sent another type of thing where he was like singing into a voice note or something. And I don't really know where the West thing came out.
So we were kind of like intentionally leaving second verses unwritten because we're like, and also I was kind of getting tired of my own voice. I was like, how many more songs do I have to sing the entire song? And like, I'd be so much more personally delighted if I heard someone else's voice on it. So we got to know Wes and Jer from the Lumineers at the Grey Cup this past December. And we were talking about, and they're sneakily from New Jersey. They're kind of considered a Denver band, but he loves Springsteen. He loves Bleachers. Like, and normally you hear him in this sort of like stripped down folk way. But we're like, would it kind of interesting if he sang over a bit more of like a soulful rockin' song. So we sent him the thing. And Wes is funny. Wes is like, he knows what he likes. He was like, yo, this song's like cool. I like it. It's like, I don't know if your lyrics are really doing it for me though. He basically was like, come back to me when the lyrics are better. Wow. And then I was like, okay, no, and I like the challenge. I was like, okay, no, this is cool. Like, and by the way, for the record, I like the original lyrics, but I was like, the opportunity here is to play in the sandbox with other people. So I was like, okay, let me get into his headspace a little bit. I rewrote my thing. Sent it to him. He's like, yeah, now we're talking. And then he wrote his verse, which is awesome. And then we were like, okay, we need to figure out what to do in this like instrumental section after the second chorus. It's like, is it a guitar solo? And they're like, should we reach out to the E Street Band? Should we reach out to Jake Clemens, who is the nephew of Clarence Clemens, who tours with Bruce now? And we have some mutual friends. And he came back and he was in and he delivered this like blazing sax solo. So that's like straight from the source, New Jersey E Street Band style.
You're really motivating me to whenever I have an idea and I'm like, I'm not going to email them. Like, they don't care, know me or what. I mean, again, you're Arkells. You're a very, very successful band. But the fact that you really just had that kind of gumption, it was like, why not? Like, that just go for it.
Yeah, that's a lot of my day every day. It's like, yeah, well, what's the worst that could happen?
We're now to a track that I think was really surprising. It's incredibly fun, very danceable, and it's Dance With You, featuring Code de Pirate and Aly and AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Max, you're bringing out your best French. What was it like? What was it like working on this one?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of French music during the pandemic just because I liked listening to it in the morning while I was like reading the newspaper. I was like, it'd be really interesting to have a French song. And I like kind of just going for it as much as we can, you only live once. And so we're like, what if we had this like song where like we sing in French, like just sort of big picture ideas. And like, what if it was like pretty electronic and dancey and like a Justice or Daft Punk or Phoenix kind of way. So we started working on the song. And we kind of got the chorus together. And we were down in LA, and our producer Ryan was like, oh, let's get some female vocals on it. I know Aly and AJ, they might come in and just like do some backup vocals. I was like, oh, cool. And at the time, I wasn't that familiar with Aly and AJ. We've become very good friends now. But they came in, and as soon as they started singing, I was like, oh, that's just the chorus. Like, I don't need to be part of this. This is awesome. And then we're like, okay, we have this French idea. Who could help us write that? We reached out to Beatrice, who goes by Code de Pirate, who's an amazing Quebecois artist. And I was like, okay. So I kind of gave her the pitch. I was like, it needs to be romantic. It needs to be sexy. It needs to be mysterious. It's like we're in a Paris nightclub at like 1 a.m. Like, just write something in that vein. She's like, well, I just had a child and I'm at home all day, like breastfeeding. So I'm definitely in that zone right now. But she, of course, came through and so we were like, okay, let's do like a back and forth dialogue. And learning to sing in French was very, very, very hard for me. Like I was a terrible French student. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
How did you say when we were at Oshiega? You said you had a way of doing it where it was like not necessarily saying the word, but like the phonetics or something.
So basically, the way I try to have to remember the words is just I convert them into English words. So, Demi rocher qui abîme nos rêves, nos lendemains. Like that's the French thing. So in my head though, Demir, and then O'Shea, like Shea, who's a basketball player, Shea Gilgeous-Alexandra, Kia Nurse, who plays for the Canadian women's basketball team. No Rev. Reminds me of the Good Rev, our friend Aaron Goldstein. No Rev, Good Rev. Anyway,
it just seems like so much more work.
Yeah.
Like there's like some mental gymnastics
it
there.
It works for me, though.
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah. We're now on to track number 9, Running Scared. Mm-hmm. Now, this is, okay, Blink Twice is the companion album to Blink Once. Mm-hmm. And is it fair to say, when I heard this one, it came to my mind that Blink Once has the Falling in Love tunes, and this one actually has the spot where you're like, oh God, now what do I do? I'm in love. Does heartbreak live here?
Yeah. There's definitely some songs that deal with just feeling confused, right? About what you want to do next in your life.
So let's talk Running Scared.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd this one start?
Where did it start? I think it started with one of those sad demos that I sent to Tony. Like, sorry, buddy. And then we started working on it with Derek Hoffman.
I really love it. This is like one of my favorite tunes, like on the record. I think just like the chorus and the way that Derek produced it with all these like really lush harmonies and like synth-based stuff. Like it's just really... And I also think it's like there's a couple of songs where you on the record where you kind of go like, oh, that's a classic Arkells tune or whatever. But this one just I feel like doesn't really sound like. I can't like link it to like another song of ours that's like, oh yeah, that's like a direct line, or whatever.
Yeah. I think there's like some bands that are able to do sort of a lot in. Pop isn't the right word, but like the 1975 are a good example. Like, and to us is like they're a good reference for this song because they're sort of like just very ambitious with the sounds they're going for and the vulnerability in the lyrics. And I think it's like just really sort of like putting yourself out there. Because I think Arkells, like a lot of our material is very typically like triumphant or aspirational, and I think I live in that worldview most of the time, but then I think some of these songs are a lot more a little down and out, and that's also part of life too.
It was really lovely to see Joel Plaskett's name on this record.
The greatest.
Do you believe you should meet your heroes?
In some cases, no, but in this case, yes.
Okay. I did read that he was one of your heroes.
He is. Yeah, actually, I was telling the story to a friend the other day. I had one of my earliest memories and a formative memory for wanting to pick up a guitar. I was 17 years old, Soundscape on College Street near Clinton. And it's 2003, put the headphones on in like the listening station at the front of the store. Don't know anything, it's just the album looks cool, and it's the first track off Truthfully, which is an iconic Joel Plaskett record. I was like, what is this? And then I saw him perform a few months later in Hamilton when I had started going to school there. I was like, this guy is like, he's moonwalking across the stage. He's like so funny. He's an amazing guitarist. These songs have the best choruses. Like, you know, he deals with everything, like heartbreak, like, you know, the funny parts of life. He kind of does it all. And yeah, so to have him on the track is amazing. And we it was one of these songs that we had kind of ready to go, and then but we're like, this kind of sounds like a Joel Plaskett song. Would he sing on it? And he first just sent back some guitar, and Mike D, our guitarist, has pointed out, it's like, Max, if I tried to wank that much over an Arkells song, you'd be like, stop that. but Joel doing it is like, this is amazing. And then we kind of coaxed him to sing the second verse. And just hearing his voice on the song is as cool as it gets.
Can you tell us about the lyric, "It's Friday night and the streets are empty. What does my horoscope say about me?" Where did that come from?
That was a pandemic kind of lyric where it's just like, and, you know, I think people are like looking for meaning and looking for direction. So it's like, you're like, okay, well, I got a lot of time. Let's see what it means to be a Sagittarius today or whatever. Okay, maybe this will help clear things up. So yeah, I think it's just like that time during the pandemic when it's like just looking for answers, man.
You brought some shimmer to a tough track and a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. You know, bringing these songs on the road, which song are you most excited to play live?
Ooh,
I'm gonna go with "Human Being."
Nice.
And because we haven't played that one live yet anyway, but it's also one of my favorite tunes on the record. So.
I think doing the tune with Joel, he's playing with us in Ottawa and Montreal. That'll be very cool. And also, Nowhere to Go. That feels like that'll be a barn burner. That'll be pretty good too.
Yes.
Noted. Well, we look forward to seeing you on stage soon. Congrats on the record. Excellent companion to Blink once. And congratulations again. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.